Welcome back. In this video, we are getting hands-on with Hive, creating databases, tables, and understanding exactly where Hive stores everything behind the scenes. By the end of the session, you'll know how Hive organizes your data in HDFS and how the meta store acts as the brain of the system. What happens when you create a database in Hive? When you create a database in Hive, two important things happen. Hive writes the metadata, that is database name, owner, location, into the Hive metastore. And the second thing that happens is Hive creates a folder in HDFS for that database. And the default folder is user hive warehouse db.db. Now let's try to see how this folder is created by actually creating a database. For this Hive series, I have set up Apache Hive using Docker. So instead of installing Hadoop Hive dependencies manually, which is a lot of headache, so Docker just lets us run everything using container. So this setup includes Hive server, Hive metastore, HDFS, and all these are running locally on my machine. And it is also lightweight, easy to start, and perfect. It is very perfect for learning and practice. So instead of wasting your time in installing complete day, you can just install Docker dbeaver, and I will also be giving the installation links in my video description. So let's start with creating a database called training demo. So it's a simple command, like just do create database. So the database is created over here, create database. Now if I want to see this database, you can check it in the left panel, but it is not yet showing, so I'll just refresh it. Okay, so here appears our training demo. So if you want to use this database, just use a command, use training demo. Even if you don't do it, and while creating a table, if you just write the database name, that is also fine. If you want to see the path at which this database is created, the default path, that is user hive, you can check it. I'll just show you it in my terminal. So I'm back at my terminal. I'll exit and clear my previous things. So here, if you want to see the path, so I have done this installation using Docker, so I have to use some Docker commands to check my HDFS path. So I just need to enter the Docker. I have this path over here. I'll just copy this path. So now from my home user, I'm inside Docker currently, and in Docker, if I want to see the path for this, I have to do HDFS DFS command. So these are our very simple basic commands that we use to check the HDFS path. So I'm checking it at my terminal through Docker. So in this default location, let's see if our training demo is present. Yeah, it is present. Now let's see what is present inside this training demo. Nothing is present inside training demo because we have not created anything under this database. So let's go to the Hive metastore first. Let's see what is actually a Hive metastore. So Hive metastore is nothing but a relational database that stores metadata for Hive tables. So what does it actually stores? It stores table names, column definition, data type, survey info, table location, partition details. And where is this actually stored? So it is stored actually in a actual database. So the database used here can be MySQL, Postgres server, Derby. So this depends on the setup. Now let's see by creating a table under this database and see how the table would look like and how the data would look like. So whenever I'm creating a table, I'll just do create table training demo.sales raw, And if you see in this command, it is only create table. So whenever I just to create table, it will defaultly create a managed table in Hive. So whenever I want to create an external table, which I'll be covering in my next video part, but whenever I want to create a default table, it will be a managed table. So you have to give the column names, and you have to just give the fields terminated by comma. So the fields terminated by comma, this is because the file that will be loading into this table is CSV file. We'll come to that part later. Let me create a table first inside my training demo. So if you see, the table got created. I can see the table over here inside tables. Just need to refresh it. If you see, I can see the sales raw table over here. You can also see the columns over here. All the columns are created over here. But now, what has been created over here? The skeleton of the table has been created over here. So if I run this query, like to check what is there into this table, it is showing nothing. So the table is still empty. We need to insert some data into this table. And all the information about this table, like the data type, column name, and the location, would be stored in my Hive meta store. For now, I'll be loading some data from my local path. Because I have created a Docker installation. So this is present in my Docker. This file is present inside my Docker. I can show you the file how it looks like. It is not at my HDFS path, it is at my Docker. So I have to just exit. I have to come back over here, just paste this command. So inside my temp folder, if you see in my local, I'm saying local because this is my home directory. Inside my home directory, I have this sales.csv file already present over here. And I want to load the data from that file into my training demo.salesRaw table. So from a local machine, if you want to load some data into the table, you have this very simple command, load data local in path into the table training demo.salesRaw. So what happened behind the scenes over here is the file that was present at my local will just get copied to the HDFS path, that is user hive warehouse training demo.salesraw.salescsv file will be copied over there. So I can show you in my terminal. Initially when we did HDFS DFS training demo.db, we did not see anything. But now if I want to see something, I have to go first into my Docker. So this would be the bash command. Then I would run this command under my training demo. If I do ls, it is now showing me the salesraw folder created for that table. And if I want to see at the actual table also, I have to do sales_raw. If you see, the sales CSV file that was present in my local got copied at my HDFS file. Now let's go back to dbeaver and just run this query select star. Now we should be able to see the data. So what is this actually doing? Hive is just pointing to that folder in HDFS and fetching that table data. So what it is doing is, it is pointing to that HDFS location, applying the schema while trying to read the file. So it is always schema on read. So after this, if you want to do some validation commands, these are a very simple validation commands that you can do. You can do show databases. It will show all the databases those are present. If you want to show tables, you can do show tables. It shows me the table that we have created, salesraw. And if you want to see the complete detail for the table, the complete detail is showed over here in the salesraw table. If you see, it shows the complete information, like what would be the database name, the owner, the create time, the retention period, table type. As I said earlier, the table type is managed table, so it would show the table type as well. So these are a very basic DDL commands for Hive. So let's see what we have learnt in this video. So if you see, the database is nothing but it is a folder created in HDFS. Metadata for the databases and table is stored in Hive Metastore. For manage table, Hive owns the data. I'll come in detail for this part, but for now, you just remember that manage table, Hive owns the data. And the data is stored as raw files in HDFS, and schema is applied only at the query time. That is, it is just pointing to that location and getting the data from it. Alright, thank you. So let's meet in our next video where we'll discuss in detail about the manage table and external table.